What if it was possible to have local, fresh groceries delivered right to your door? Think of all the free time you'd have. Well, Instacart gives unlimited grocery delivery for one low monthly fee. Forgot that special ingredient in your favorite dish? Instacart can deliver it to your front door in as fast as 1 hour. You can shop multiple stores, see deals in your area, and save time and money. I've been using Instacart for over 3 years. I started using them in Arizona, and I'm using them here in Florida. I love the time-saving convenience. They pick the freshest products, and they keep my eggs safe too. To receive your first delivery free, follow the link in the show notes so that Instacart knows that we sent you and to help support the show. Instacart. Never step foot in a grocery store again. It's here, our Empowered Within bonus clips and behind-the-scenes videos from podcast episodes. You can check out the pre-show, the post-show, and everything in between that doesn't actually make it into the podcast episodes. Head over to jenniferpilates.com, click podcast, and click watch videos, and you can watch never-before-seen podcast videos. Enjoy 15% off with this promo code EPW Video 15. If you'd like to be in the know of all of our events, giveaways, and new episodes, head over to jenniferpilates.com and hit subscribe. Thank you so much for being a part of our Empowered Within community. Enjoy today's episode. Welcome to Empowered Within, a soul-quenching, transformational podcast that will set your soul on fire through candid and inspiring conversations. Leading experts, celebrities, healers, and I share our journeys of how we've overcome challenges to living an empowered life from within. I'm your host, Jennifer Pilates. Welcome to another episode of Empowered Within. Hi there, and welcome to today's show. I'm so excited that we have back in the studio with us the practical numerologist, Felicia Bender. Felicia writes about and teaches ways to use numerology, spirituality, and intuition to understand ourselves and others on a deeper level, to validate our life's purpose, and to develop tools to understand how to trust our own intuitive language. Felicia is the resident numerologist of astrostyle.com and is featured in many media outlets, including Refinery 29, Women's Health, Elephant Journal, and so much more. Welcome back to the show, Felicia.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I'm so excited to have you back. We're going to coin you our resident numerologist.
I would love it. I love talking with you about this stuff. Your enthusiasm is contagious, so I love it.
Yeah, we have so much fun. So here's my question about compatibility. I read that a 5 and a 5 is good compatibility. Is that true?
It all depends on your fiveness.
I knew there was going to be a trick. So for 2022, so you have two fives. One is going into a 9-year though, and one is going into a 1 year.
Oh, interesting. Oh, I'm always looking at, and to be truthful and upfront, Jen, I mean, and do you feel this way, knowing astrology and everything? Most people I know, well, who I enjoy in terms of their practice will say there is no actual just compatible,
Right.
People want to know which number goes with which. Well, okay, it doesn't work that way. It depends on where we are and also how we present. I mean, right? And where we are in our own journey. What I'm always looking for is how you align with that. And it is my point of view that any relationship we enter into is not an error. And whether it lasts a day or 60 years, there is some karmic connection there and something to be learned. And there's always going to be something reflected or triggered or both.
I'm always expressing that to my clients. Like they're like, you get this all the time. I don't want to waste any time. Am I marrying this guy or not? And I'm like, it's not about that. It's so not about that. But of course, what am I doing? Felicia.
Felicia, I would be asking you the same thing right now.
And that's the beauty. That's the beauty of it. So you were describing my numerology, my birthday down, even more so in bringing in the 8 and the 9, which I didn't know about before. So if this other person, you were describing it as a rising, maybe their rising doesn't meet my rising, but we wouldn't know unless you did. And I assume maybe you could tell us about if you do compatibility numerology charts.
I do. What I do is just do 2 separate charts, and then I insist on speaking with you, because I think putting something from a software program, I just don't like that because it doesn't, to me, it just doesn't speak to the depth and breadth of us as individuals and who we are. And so what I want to do is say, how do you present in your 5, and how does he, is he more, what does he do? So how do you connect there, and where do you tweak each other, right? Because oftentimes maybe you're learning how to be a little more grounded, and he has some of that, and he's learning how to be a little bit more adventurous, and you have more of that, so that you are hand-holding in that way. And yet, to speak to your personal year question, as long as I feel, well, this is my fantasy life, is that if you both were to sit down and actually talk about these things.
Imagine a couple talking.
Oh my gosh. I tell you, that's my fantasy world. And yet, let's put my communication fantasy on the table here. If you sit down and you go, hey, honey, I am in my 1 personal year and you're in your 9. I just went through my version of what you're going through. And to just delineate and say, how can we support each other? Because I'm kind of been there, done that. But what I want you to know is that I'm here for you and I want to support you through this. And yet I might be running a little solo. The other things that you can understand about that personal year. So it's actually quite lovely to have a relationship where someone isn't, you can be in the same personal year, but double indemnity. So sometimes it's really nice to be in a different one, as long as you have some knowledge around it and can really understand what the other person is going through, want to understand that, and want to be supportive as they go through that process. So I think it's very powerful to know that, and to be so close, because you can look at him and go, oh yeah, I remember.
Been there.
I remember. Been there, done that. Here, let me bake you some cookies. It'll all be better. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So cool. So I just wanted to, because I don't believe in our first episode that we've ever done that we did that. So I thought, I'm going to have to ask a little bit about that today.
It's a great question. And, often the depth can be gone into enormously there. And yet overall, I think it's really interesting to look at people or of same astrological sign, right?
So different.
It's said to be compatible, not compatible, right? It's sometimes too much of the same.
I found that, people always say, a Taurus and a Taurus. And I thought, never worked for me.
Yeah, right, right. Too much of me looking back at me. Sorry, right?
Yeah, it didn't work for me.
Well, and that's a funny thing. Yeah. Don't you find, Jen, with your work and everything, people can have some of the most incongruent. I've had couples reading. I have one client, I've done their whole family. It's lovely. And the husband and wife have been married for, 35 or more years. If you look at them on paper, they should never have met. And they have this lovely, beautiful relationship because they understand each other and they work with that and around and through it, right? Then you have people who have like, oh my gosh, if there could be a golden frame around this compatibility profile, this would be it. And it doesn't work for whatever reason.
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah. I wonder if it has something to do with back in the day. Things were different. People communicated. You didn't have iPhones. You didn't have 5G. You actually had to talk to someone if you liked them.
I know. It's very distressing.
I love human interaction. Like you, intuitive, empathic. I love human interaction. Not a lot of it, but some of it. And, it has to be just the right amount.
It has to be chosen. It has to be of your choice.
Yeah,
yes.
Of my choice. So for the adventure aspect, to be able to, to travel, to do, there's so many different things, and you got to wonder about someone that's been married for 32, 35 years versus not.
Well, exactly. And it all depends on who you are, what you want. And again, the numbers can kind of give you some ideas around that as well, because you're a 5, and the 5 is that fearless flyer, the adventurer. You are all about the experience. And oftentimes the 5 doesn't really do well or want to settle down at all at the beginning. And maybe as I always say, it's kind of the been there, done that. As long as you go through this stuff and finally you get to a certain point and you've burned off all that fuel, right? You're kind of like, I've been there, done that. And then you get to the point where you don't feel like you're giving something up. The 5 is the ultimate FOMO. I mean, oh my God. And yet as you mature, you get to the, hey, I've done that. I love having done that. It's part of my bag of experience. And yet now I want to focus on this, because the 5 can be a very devoted relationship partner when you decide that's actually what you want. You don't want to follow the strictures of society, right? And
I buck that system every chance I get.
Exactly. Yeah. And yet that's the pathway of the 5. Other numbers are much more into, I want the traditional, I feel better with this. I want I want that. So the beauty of it is that it takes all of us, right? It takes all kinds, and we're not all the same, and we don't have the same values or the same way of perceiving the world or experiencing anything. And as soon as we realize that, boy, does that lessen our anxiety. Well, and I think as corny as it sounds and as cliched as it might be, I think one of the things numerology really did for me is to truly make me really understand, and right there in black and white, that everyone comes in on a different journey or pathway, however you want to, delineate that. And I just think it's a wonderful way, again, as a tool, as a way for information, for validation, and for guidance.
Today's podcast is sponsored by JP Active Athleisure Wear, Pilates and yoga-inspired apparel that combines style and versatility. JP Collections take you from the studio to the street, looking and feeling your greatest. With sizes ranging from 0 to 24, there is something for every beautiful shape and size. Discount promo codes will be available in today's show notes. This has been so amazing, Felicia. Thank you so much. For our listeners that would like to reach out and connect with you more, have their own private one-on-one numerology with you, where can our listeners find you and reach out?
You can find me on my website. It's FeliciaBender.com. And I'm, of course, on Instagram and Facebook, and also on YouTube. So you can have there's some video there, and you can get that through my website as well.
And all of that will be in our show notes. You can hop over to jenniferpilates.com. All of her information for links where you can click to get her book and the website and everything, so that you too can dive deeper into your numerology. Well, as we say, until next time. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe to Empowered Within with Jennifer Pilates. Your feedback is important. It helps me to connect with you and gives me insight into who you are and what you're enjoying about the show. For today's show notes and discount codes from today's sponsors, head over to jenniferpilates.com. Until next time, may you live an empowered life from within.